Well, here we are in Mildura talking to Mort and Paula Matchoss, who have been on the land for probably all of your lives, farming out at Morcalla. I guess let's just start by the fact that you've been on the farm all your life. Is it are you second generation or third generation on the farm, or?
I'm second generation.
Second generation. So your dad.
They had settled it, got it in 1926.
Okay.
They settled it and opened it up.
Yep. How many acres did he have back then?
He had 1,100 acres.
And he had to clear
that
all
was his original block there.
And he had to clear
Him and
all
Mum cleared it.
That would have been a task.
Yeah. They come from South Australia.
And how they go about clearing that?
Just by hand. They used to burn the stumps, cut the trees down, burn the stumps and the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd just do.
Yeah. I did have another old chap that worked there with them. See, I was only born at Morcalla.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I wasn't born at Loxton.
Yeah.
And that's what they'd done. They cleared it up. They had another old fellow by the name of Golke. He was a South Australian, I think, too. He used to work for him.
Yep.
But,
and 1,100 acres. How long did it take him to clear that?
Well, there's still about 200 acres that's not cleared because we left that. He never cleared that because during the war years, he was cutting it all for. Well, they cleared all the other land except for that patch, and then they used that for firewood. And they used to cut sawn timber and send it away during the war years.
Oh, okay.
And then he had charcoal pits, the old fella did.
Yep.
And burned charcoal for the gas producers. And that's how he made his living and kept going.
Yep.
Till the better years come.
Yep.
And what was your dad's name?
Oscar.
And you got brothers and sisters?
Yeah. I've got four other brothers. Well, I did have 4 other brothers. And 5 sisters. So there was, what's that, 9?
Football team.
10 in the family. So we had a fair bit to do to keep the tucker up to us.
And how many of those are on the land now, or that ended up on the land?
Well, 3 of us did. See, I and my other brother was in with me from Les. You would have been. Well, we would have bought sheds off for you when he was still alive. And then my other brother, he had a farm of his own down at Urara. Oh, he got that after. It would have been the late 60s, I think, when they got that.
Yep.
They opened it up new country at Urara.
And Paula, were your family on the land as well?
They were, yes, but not up here. Down the next line, down at Walkia.
Oh, okay, yep.
So I was born and bred on a farm as well.
So what's your family name?
Hannick.
Okay. From down that
And
way.
they're still brothers. I've got 4 brothers there still.
Okay.
Still on the land.
Okay.
And I've only been out of the bush since 1955.
Yeah.
Out at Morcalla.
All right. And you're living in Mildura now?
Part-time.
When we were here.
So how long have you guys been married?
Well, 57 years.
That's a pretty good effort, isn't it?
Yeah, we're still going.
And how long do you spend out on the farm now?
Oh, well, sometimes it's 1 day a week, and another day. Well, last week it was 4 days, wasn't it? And it was 4 days.
5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah, just go out and poke around.
Depends what's happening out there.
Well, I think
The
I'd go
needs
mad
are.
just sitting around here. Well, that's what I always reckon I would.
They tell me you just bought another property too.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but I've done it.
That's an adjoining property, isn't it? Or very close to it.
Very close, yeah. There's only one farm block in between us.
Yeah. And how big's that patch of dirt?
That's 3,000 acres.
And combine that with what you've got. What have you got on your home block?
It's about 5,500 there, so that's about 8,500 of farming land.
And that's all cleared land?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. And you rotating paddocks at all?
Oh, yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't sow it all at once.
No.
No, well, up until I bought this other block, we used to only sow about 3,000 acres, but now last year, since I've had that, it's been 7,000 acres. So,
yeah.
Okay.
But
just a lot more work.
Yeah.
And you have sheep as well?
Not very many. No, I got rid of them. I've got about 150. That's all left. The killers, I call them.
Yeah.
Sold all the ewes, but
Yeah.
no, we've got a fair few cattle.
Okay.
Yeah, we run cattle. I don't know what's there now, 250, 300 head perhaps.
Yep.
Too many at the moment.
Yeah. What's that? Just because lack of stubble or?
Oh no,
lack
they're
of
all
feed?
good and fat, but I just want to cut them back.
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't rain this year,
Mm.
Yes, there'll be a shortage of feed.
Yeah. Yeah. Rain's always an issue, isn't it? I mean, this area here.
Rain, yeah.
I mean, what's the average rainfall that you have there?
it'd be about 10 inches, I suppose.
10
something like
inches.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, wouldn't be much better.
In a good year, what does that return you
Well,
in bags?
in bags, 5, 6, 7 bags or something like that. 5.
Yeah.
It all depends when the rain falls. That's the thing. If you get the rain at the right time,
Yeah.
that's plenty of rain.
It's been that way the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
sort of 10 years, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's been very patchy. It's
Patchy, yeah.
not.
So we've been getting it all in the summertime instead of when we need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it'd be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, now's when we need it. Get the crop
It
in.
still seems to be always September when we miss it, when we want to finish it. Like
Yeah.
we get a good crop to there and then
Yeah.
it just fizzles out.
Yeah.
But we can't complain. The last couple of years have been pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you
Prior
have?
to-
Sorry.
Prior to that, you had there was a few ordinary years
Yeah, a
amongst
few
them.
lean ones then.
Yeah. And they always seem to start good,
Yeah,
then
and
just
then cut out.
never finish off.
And I don't know, we've had a bit of a crop each year though, haven't we?
Oh yes,
Nothing
we've
planned.
all
No
we've
major
always
disasters.
managed. Always
Yeah.
managed. Yeah.
Managed to get your seed back at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Did you have any
Sometimes-
trouble with mice last year?
Well, there was plenty around, but we never had any trouble with them. Not well. What I say trouble, they must have ate a little bit, but they
Yeah.
never knocked it back at all much.
Sorry, you were going to say?
Forget.
It was the rain that knocked the crops around. That was like in the summer rains there when you were supposed to be harvesting. It was,
Yeah.
That's what I was going
Yeah.
to say. But
Yeah.
except
More
when you get the
than
rain when you're in the middle of harvest and
yeah.
Yeah.
ruins the grain and
And so with your grain now, things would have changed over the years as far as what you did with it when you repped it. You would have
Well,
previously taken it to the local silo, would you?
well, in the early days it was all bags. I
Yeah.
remember we used to cart and lump bags. That's what me and the brother used to do to make an extra bob.
Yeah. Okay. And where would that end
Oh,
up?
it all went, well, some went to more colour, and then there was every siding along the line there.
Yeah.
Had wheat bag stacks, bag wheat stacked up, and then it changed to bulk. And then we were still carting bags. The cockies were putting them out of their own machines into bags,
Yeah.
and then we'd have to load them onto the truck and cart them in and tip them into a bin and put them up in the organ of the railway carriages because there wasn't silos then,
Yeah.
and bag it up.
And you would have seen changes over the years on how
Oh yeah,
how it was sown and harvested, of course.
yeah. Oh yeah. With
Yeah.
a 16 combine. One bloke sitting on the tractor and the other bloke on the machine putting it in and out.
Putting
There
seed
wasn't,
in. Yeah.
wasn't hydraulics then, no.
Yeah.
No, plenty of overcoats on over the night, you try and work a bit late. I always seem to be the silly bloke. I had to usually leave my older brother would sit on the tractor because he'd get a bit of warmth off it, you see.
Oh, okay.
He'd be on the back on the combine putting the handle in and pulling it out. And then,
What we take for granted these days, hey?
Yeah.
Nice air conditioned
But
cab.
now can they,
Warm.
well, everything's too good for them now. Yeah, no air conditioning.
Are you saying that farmers are soft now?
Beg your pardon?
Are you saying that farmers are soft now?
Yeah, they are, I reckon they are, because everything's so easy, like they don't have to even steer it. Well, I know they got these steering, what it's called.
Satellite navigation type
they
things.
use that and they probably read the paper while they're driving along going from one side of the paddock. I know Rod does.
as long as they don't go to sleep.
Yeah, well, I've heard of that happening too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one farmer out home, he went through the fence and went to sleep going across the paddock and come out the other side and went through his own fence.
Yeah.
No, she's changed, there's no doubt about that.
Do you remember days from the like using horses for farming?
No, well, I can remember my father and my older brother driving and we'd taken them out, yeah, with the old moldboard ploughs and that, but I never had anything to do with it, you see. I was only a kid then, thank heavens.
Just a young fella.
But,
So, Paula, did you ever get involved in work on the farm itself, or were you?
Not really, except we used to have to milk the cows and
Yeah.
feed the horses because we had horses then too and do those sort of jobs.
Yeah. but never actual out on the
Not-
tractors or anything
No,
like that.
no.
No.
Oh, you mean later on?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
really. I
you
did a
was
few
fixing little
times.
stumps, didn't you?
I used to go picking the stumps, and
Oh, okay.
I did drive the tractor, but I can't handle these new ones.
Yeah.
Don't like those. But, no, we used to go out. Used to take the kids, and we'd go out and pick stumps. And
So why don't you like the new tractors?
it's too complicated. All this modern technology.
Yeah, it's a bit like having to learn how to use a computer, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Things change.
So they're too big, too scary.
They are big, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before the bagged grain. Was that when you got your mouse-proof barn from Grant Sheds back in the bagged grain days?
Yes, it was all bag days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one of your first sheds from us?
That was the very first shed
Was the
from
very
Grant's.
first one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the sheds prior to that was just straw roof ones, you know, the old thatched roofs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we got rid of them with a match.
Easy way to clear an old shed.
Yeah, but they were quite good sheds though, still, you know. I can always remember when we were kids, they used to buy the bags and bundles of bags pressed together they were, and in the summertime they'd be always nice and cool, and we'd lay them up in the shed and lay them on the rest, you know, because they were damp when they packed them, and they'd be really cool,
okay.
you know, in the stinking hot day, because we didn't have air conditioners,
Yeah.
and we'd be laying around up there in the hot days as kids and on these bags. But
When we were at your farm this afternoon, we saw a couple of old spotlighting rigs in a little wooden shed.
oh, they are.
Just tell us about those vehicles in there.
Yeah, well, they've been there for a long time, but I never used them much. My kids didn't.
Mm.
The old Holden, they used to do that, chase the emus and the kangaroos and run them down. But when we were young, we had the old T-model Ford. I can remember my neighbour, I don't know if I should mention the name, Buster Nunn, we were great mates. We always used to go out chasing kangaroos in the old T-model till the wheels fell off. And that was it.
And the older of the two spotlighting rigs that was in that little shed, what was that? What did you call that one?
The old rugby there.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that was a bit modern. We had a little thing sticking out with used to have the rifle to hold it and everything on that because it was just more for rabbits, you know. But we never used that much. Wasn't fast enough.
And you mentioned the rabbit truck.
Oh, working for Jack McCray there. Well, I'd done that for 2 years for McCray, but he's the rabbit king.
What was that? What was involved?
I used to
with
go,
that?
we had the chillers at Moorcalla, and I used to drive out and go around South Australia. I used to go right down to Swan Reach, through Loxton out the back and come right back through there picking up from all the rabbit trappers, and a lot of the farmers were trapping at that time, and every day of the week by Sunday. Yeah.
And what years were those?
What year?
Or what year?
Oh,
You were 18,
I was
wasn't it?
about 18 when I got my licence. I got my licence at 17. It was about the next year. There wasn't any work for me on the farm, so I thought, well, I got a job with him driving this truck. I thought I was made. I was a big truckie. But they were nearly all dirt roads down there then. Every time I go through out the Pater and go down towards Alawoona there, that was a dirt track. I used to go over these little mounts. The old Bedford would scream like me, like they're all brand new trucks they used to send up.
Yeah. So what model Bedford was it?
Oh, I don't know what it was called then. It was a little long nose thing. A 4.5 tonner they used to call it. They were brand new. They'd send them up. Yeah. And then we'd go early in the morning, go around the round, pick up the rabbits from all the trappers around the screens, you know. And
Where would the rabbits end up?
in Melbourne.
In
Yeah, in
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
So
We'd bring them back to Moorcalla.
For human
And we had big
consumption.
chillers there at Moorcalla, and we'd put them in the chillers.
Yeah.
And then every week there'd be a semi-trailer loaded, go to Melbourne.
Okay.
Frozen, all frozen.
Yep. And that was for human consumption.
Oh yeah. When I finished doing that job after 2 years, I got sick of it. I went to Melbourne with the truck that was taking them down and helped them unload them in at Spencer Street in the fish market there. Yeah, it was the big freezers, and they'd go and put them there.
And that was just a normal year. It wasn't a plague of rabbits or anything like that.
No, well, just normal years. Yeah. A lot of them used to catch them. You know, I had some good trappers. I didn't find them; they used to just come. It was the Bogle Sangs and a few of them different people. They've still got names down there around Wombi and all that.
And speaking of plagues and things, while you've been on the farm, what sorts of plague type things have you had troubles with, or that you remember?
I can remember mice plagues.
Mice
Mice plagues.
Mice are the worst.
Yeah, they were about the worst. I don't know
rabbits. When we were first married, there were a lot of
net
rabbits.
the dams in to
We
get
used
the
to
rabbits.
net the dams in and catch them like that.
All right, yep.
And we'd go out spotlighting in the ute.
Yeah.
And I'd be holding the spotlight, I used to. And Mort would be driving and I'd have the spotlight and Les would be shooting. That's how we...
So how would you do it with the dams? What would you do?
Oh, we
Oh,
put
with the
netting
dams.
around the dam. That was the dam water there. The water was in there, and then you'd put netting around, and you'd have the wire bent out at the bottom,
Oh, okay.
or inwards.
Yep.
And then you'd have little netting holes with a funnel.
Yep.
They'd walk down this funnel, but because when they're inside, they run around. They wouldn't think of going around the end of it
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, you'd get 200 or 300 pair out of them in a night.
Oh wow.
In the big ute,
Of course, they were coming in looking for the water.
Water on the
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But they weren't worth much. I think when I was in the truck, the highest it got to was 2 and 6pence a pair.
Okay.
There was 3pence for young kittens a pair.
Yep.
Then there was 9pence for young, and then there was about 1 and 9pence for large pairs.
Yeah.
And then it went up after the 2 years to 2 and 6.
And what do you pay for a rabbit now? Have you ever bought one?
Never bought one.
Oh,
You've seen they're
they're about $8 or $9 each.
Oh, true.
ridiculous price.
Only ever
But
tried
they've all-
cooking one once and it was terrible disaster. We've never tried again.
Yeah. The dog ended up with it.
No, they all went to Melbourne. That McCraith, he was a multi-millionaire out of it. And I had a rap. I've got a book here on it. I'll give you one day to read.
Okay.
Be interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And he took it down there, and the skins would all go for making felt hats, and the meat was all went, to meat, the rabbits. Yeah, there was heaps of them, semi-loads of them we used to take down there every week. But now with the mice, I can remember my brother and me were shearing. I don't know what year, I must have been old. I started shearing when I was 17 and done a bit, and then I nipped off on this truck job, and I come back. And we were sleeping in a hut up at Moringa in a shed, near the shearing shed, and the mice was eating the buttons off my brother's pyjama coatings. Yeah, and he said they were walking all over. Oh, it was rotten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how they were just thick, they were moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember that quite plain.
What about just recently the grasshoppers that went through?
Yes.
Yes, that's right,
was
we had
that
them
last year or a couple of years
No,
ago?
a couple of years
Two.
ago.
Two years
Did
ago.
they cause you any grief?
Not a lot to home. No, we've done a lot of spraying to get rid of them. We had a fair amount of them around, but we kept spraying.
Kept that.
Yeah.
And made a lot of work for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
It
work.
cost you a lot of money, no
A
doubt,
lot.
in
Oh, yeah.
chemicals and
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and time.
Yeah.
I think time that you could.
No, well, looking, that was the biggest trouble with that. You'd have to go, because we did have a good year.
Yeah.
And they were in amongst it and you couldn't see them. You had to be driving around to find them when they were only
Oh, okay.
half an inch long.
Yeah.
Otherwise they got away with us.
Get them while they're hoppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were still hoppers. But, oh no. Farming's in me blood, and it's always has been. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
said we thought we were retired, but
Once a farmer, always a farmer, they say.
At least you don't have to do it all yourself now, so that's taken the stress off of that, I
no.
suppose.
It's still, I keep laying in bed and thinking at night time, what should be done out there?
Yeah.
I'd like to get out and be there.
So who looks after the farm when you're not there?
Well, Sean's supposed to.
Yeah, you can lay stuff on him now. I'm sure he'll lay it straight back.
No. No, it's quite, well, Rod does a lot of work, that's the son. You've probably haven't met Rod, have you?
No.
He's getting up too, isn't he now? But he's been into everything, like he worked for Bayer's Chemicals when he first came home from uni, and then he was with Pivot, the regional manager for them, up around here. But now he's just a farmhand for me and himself.
Yeah.
And a truckie, just a truck.
And on your farm, do you do like no-till?
Well, we did do a little bit, but we're not, I don't know.
Not convinced about it?
No. See, last year it was the first year we really tried. A lot of them have been doing it for years, but I don't know. I'm not that keen on that.
Yep.
I know it may work out a lot cheaper, but we've got no way
You've got
to
to use a lot of sprays. That's
Yeah, and I don't like losing too
Yeah.
much spray all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just
My next question was going to lead to talking about the mice and things, and whether you felt that it was going to create problems, with more mice and things like that because of the more
straw
stubble left there and no sheep coming in to clean it up, those sorts of things.
But I've never ever burnt the straw. I've always just smashed it up for I suppose, the last 20 years or so. I've never burnt straw because I reckon it lays there and must do some good.
Yep.
But years ago we used to just go out and fire it and burn them all bare, everything bare. But I think a lot of farmers have cut that out.
Although this year I've heard there's been a few more people doing it
Doing it
because,
again,
because of the snails, apparently. Have you had any trouble with snails?
No, we've never had any trouble with snails. No.
They sort of windrowing it and, burning it off, and basically for the snails. So more so over in the York Peninsula, they got those cone snails over there, I think.
Yeah, they have a lot over there.
Yeah.
But no, there's not many snails here. Only some of the farmers will like a bit snaily, a bit slow.
Too dry over here for the snails.
Yeah. No.
And so you've bought a few sheds from Grant Sheds over the years.
Yeah.
Can you remember how many you've had?
I know I've got 7 now, still standing there. There should be, and a couple of lean-tos are on. That's not found there on the shed.
Yeah.
Extras. And one, I'm not going to tell you where that is. It's under the trees. Did you see it today?
No.
No, we were a bit unlucky with that shed. You wouldn't have been working there then.
No.
When it got blown down, a storm come through and took it.
Yeah, John was saying that for some reason, when you and him were in the trucks, you'd normally park behind the shed.
Yeah,
and on
that's
this
what
one
we
day
reckon.
you parked it.
Parked them, 2 of them. Yeah, 2 of them
on the side, and that deflected all of the wind
into there.
right into the
but it did take
shed.
trees and everything right through. It kept going. It wasn't definitely.
So it was going to take
mini
whatever was in its way. It was going to take it anyway.
It was really strange. All the car utes that were parked in the shed were just sitting there
Never
still.
got touched.
The shed just went from above them.
Yeah, the new tractor, and they never even scratched it or anything. They just lifted it up and took it over. It was a string of gum trees. I think he probably showed you it.
Out the back,
Yeah, just took it up and smashed it over that, and lumps of legs of cement hanging up on the trees. And
he was showing me that that one. What was it? The comb, off the comb.
off the header
fingers off of the header.
Header combs.
And you said that ended up buried in the ground somewhere.
Yeah,
you couldn't pull
change
it
the
out.
way they dived into the ground. They must have slid up the iron as it was blown.
Excuse me.
Another SEC man. Yeah, no, they were stuck in the ground around the house too. Like there could have been anybody walking around would have got killed.
Yeah.
Speared. A lot of people you know. Probably just, we're not far off finishing. So perhaps if you could just see if you can remember what sorts of sheds you've had from Grant Sheds. And we saw that you had your mouse-proof barn had a date on it.
Yeah, it's 1959.
59. Yeah.
That would have been the first one when he was still at, before you went over to Monash.
Okay.
Didn't you go to Monash? Yes, he did.
Started at Monash, then went to Glossop, I think.
To Glossop, before he went to Glossop, we got that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was the
Shearing shed.
Shearing shed. And the extension on the side of the shearing lean-to, we got that from them. And they got a grain
Machinery
shed, that one along there, 100 by 30, and then another 100 by 30 down where another machinery shed.
And then the grain shed.
And the super shed.
Super
shed,
shed,
yeah.
Then the grain shed.
Yep. And the grain shed.
And then the big shed.
And the big shed. Then we put an extension on one of the big sheds down the end there just to get the header in before we put the big one up.
Yep.
So there's seven sheds there and 3 extensions, I think there was.
So it could be 10, or does that 7 include the extensions?
That's 7. No, well, extensions were put on after.
Yeah.
You can see if you have a look up there in that picture, you'll see the new roof on it and where the extensions were put on them.
And then the new property he bought's got
that's got a shed on
several
it.
sheds.
That's got
okay.
Several grain sheds on there
That's got
too.
a big grain shed on there too, isn't it?
Yeah, 2,000 tonne grain shed.
Yep.
So whose property was that you'd bought?
Brawn's. It was.
Brawn's, okay. Yep.
And it's got a shearing shed on it too. And with a super shed on it.
So we could be getting up to 10 or 12. It's maybe not all bought by you, but in your
position
now.
Well, I've from now, I reckon.
No, that's
sheds.
And so you've enjoyed your farming life?
Oh yes, yeah.
Wouldn't stop it.
Well, I would have sold out if I didn't.
That's true.
Yeah. No, instead, you buy another property.
Yeah, buy another property. That's when my sister told me somebody had rang her up, and she said, this fellow rang her up, that was her brother-in-law down at Ballarat, wanted to know what was wrong with Mort. And she said, I don't know, nothing wrong with him, I don't think. He said, he must be losing the plot. He said, he's bought another farm, and she didn't even know about it. He said, he reckoned I'd lost the plot. Well, I might have too.
Time will tell, you reckon?
Yeah. So, but no.
I guess if you had your time over again, would you go down the same path?
I reckon, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty good dirt, that other block.
Mm. Even though it's only sort of like 5
Yeah.
k's away
Oh,
from
it's
your
not
home
far
block,
away, no.
there's a big difference between the two paddocks, is there? Or two blocks?
Oh, well, you see, them blocks up there in the original blocks, they were only 650 or 680 or something. And that was the reason why we got a bigger one, because it was poor land, you see.
Yeah.
The old man got 1,100 acres and when it was opened up. And I think my neighbour over there, Jeffrey Gray, I think he got about 2,000 acres because of blue bush and that was on, they varied in size.
Oh, okay.
And that particular one up the top's got 4 or 5 farms in it, and they were all little ones, so there must have been better property. It was all pine,
Yeah.
pine country.
Yeah.
A lot better. I don't know if the rain's any better.
We noticed that just driving from Morcalla today, that you suddenly see the type of country change, you know,
Yeah.
the type of trees that are growing.
Yeah, pine trees. When you're going through going up there with all the little
Yeah.
pine trees.
Is that related to changes in amount of rainfall or the soil types? Or
Well,
no?
they always say it is.
Mm.
You know, see when you go from Moringa down the line. Did you go through to Werribee today?
Mm.
That Balar there along there,
Yeah.
all that nice Balar. Well, that was all. Must have been more rain there for that to all go like that forest.
Yeah, it's pretty healthy forest down there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, very thick.
Well, that's where my brother's farm was there. In that's where they subdivided that up, and he got one in there. You know, I was telling.
Yep.
Because he died and he got sold. Been kicking myself ever since. I should have bought that one.
Should have had that one.
Hindsight's a
Every time I go
terrible thing.
past, I say,
yeah.
"Oh, I should have bought it."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And what do you do these days other than farming? Do you have any other interests?
Heard you mention a houseboat earlier.
Yes, but we don't go out that much now. It's a thing you do it, you know, sometimes, and you don't. But I don't do much other than Paula still plays golf when she's fit enough. Yeah, she still plays her golf.
What handicap are you on?
Don't worry, I've got to put my new cards in this year because I hadn't played for quite a few months and that. So, no, I'm no good, I'm just a hacker, but I just enjoy it.
So it's 99% of the world
Yeah,
who play golf.
just a hacker. But it's good. Good
Oh,
company, and
We have travelled around a little bit and had a look at the country.
we go visiting the family. And
Speaking of which,
Grandchildren?
what family do you have? Your children firstly, and then grandchildren and things?
yes, 11 grandchildren,
Well,
3 in Melbourne, 2 at Mount Barker, 3 here and 3 out at Redcliffs.
Yep.
Well, there's only 2 at Redcliffs now. The eldest girl's away up in Alice Springs
Yep.
nursing.
uh-huh.
So you've had some reasonably close for quite some time.
Oh yes, yes.
We saw a little saying the other day down at Greg Brown's on the cushion.
If I'd known being a grandmother was going to be so much fun, I'd have done that first.
Oh,
That's
a good
Who
one.
told you that, Greg Brown?
Yeah, it was on
I was on a cushion at his
on
place.
the cushion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, was
I like that one.
Yeah. No, if I knew grandkids would be so much fun,
I'd have had them
we'd have
first.
had them first. Yeah.
But they're good. They keep us young and keep us going.
They're just gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
Kids are gorgeous.
You probably like Ali, and every time you go to Target or Kmart or something like that, you come home with a basket full of stuff for the grandkids.
No, yeah, I'm not allowed to go shopping.
We don't spoil them too much, do we? But they're here a lot. We have them a lot.
They enjoy coming here.
Yeah.
It's good.
Do they get out to the farm at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they love it out there.
They like it out there?
Yeah.
The sheds usually are full of little motorbikes from about this high up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They'll treasure things like memories like that, won't
Yeah.
they?
Actually, speaking of things in sheds, let's just go back a bit. But we saw an old car in your one of your machinery sheds.
The Chev.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one hobby I was going to do. I started restoring that, but that's a 1947
It's beautiful.
Chev, yeah, but I haven't finished it. And I did go to a place in Mount Barker to see what they'd do it for me, but it frightened the daylights out of me. They said, I pull it all the bits and they go right through the chassis, down the chassis, the body of and everything. And I said, what do you reckon it cost? He said, oh, it'd be about $50,000 to $60,000. I said, God. He said, but it'd be a new car, it'd be completely new. Like as good as it was when they were manufactured.
It's certainly in good nick in the shed there. It looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. But I started doing things to it, but I don't know, I ran out of puff or something.
Always other things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pity, because it is a good car to do up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
All right. Well, thank you both. I appreciate your time for the interview.
That's all right.
We'll send you a
I
copy.
don't want to tell you any bad stories.
Certainly, whenever we talk to people through the Miller here, there's not many people that haven't heard of Mort and Paula.
No, well,
We've been around a fair while.
And nice people.
yeah, well, we had the post office at Moorcalla, or Paula did for a
Oh, did
while.
you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had the post office there for a
And then
few
she was
years.
the district nurse for 25 years or something.
Not quite that long, but quite
That
a
would
long
get you
while.
well known in the district, apart from just being a farming family there.
Speaking
It's
of
good.
being a district nurse, you were telling us just a little while ago about Mort having a turn, and you had to
That's right.
had to jumpstart him.
I had to thump him. Got him going.
Yeah. So your training as a nurse then certainly
Well,
paid off.
Paid off, I guess. It really did.
Not going to fall over again.
Don't want him to fall over again.
So he actually stopped breathing and everything that time, didn't he?
He'd gone.
Yeah.
He was really gone.
And that was
Absolutely.
5 years ago, did you say?
No, 4 years.
Four.
And a bit.
Four and a
Four and a
half.
bit, yeah.
It looks pretty damn good for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, just need to do that every now and then, whether he needs it or not.
That's right. I should. That's good thinking. I'll have to try.
Something.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That wasn't that hard, was it?
Oh, it was. Nerve-wracking.
Some interesting gear in this little old wood shed. Let me bring you up a little bit closer to show you. Two generations of spotlighting rigs. Don't ask me what the car types are though. There's the old one. What a beautiful masterpiece. What a beauty. And the young one.